50 senators are present. Chair declares a quorum is present. Senate is ready for business. We have 2 messages from the President Pro Tem. Clerk will read.
Madam President, members of the Senate, I have one Friday, April 21st, 2023, signed House and Roll Act 1009, 1015, 1132, 1157, 1167, 1196, 1207, 1219, 1228, 1252, 1279, 1315, 1321, 1334, 1335, 1396, 1422, 1568, and 1627. Roger Bray, President Pro Tem.
Continue.
Madam President, members of the Senate, I have on April 23rd, 2023, signed Senate Roll Act 474. Roger Bray, President Pro Tem.
We have 1 Rules Committee report. Is there consent to take this in one motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Committee report is adopted. We have 19 reports from the President Pro Tem. Clerk will read.
Pursuant to the enforcing rules of the Senate, President Pro Tem. Pursuant to the enforcing rules. Pursuant to the enforcing. 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 Pursuant to the.
We have a general resolution for consideration. Clerk will read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution number 43, Senator Holtman, congratulating Tara Koch.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Concurrent Resolution number 44, Senators Busch and Kyle Walker, congratulating the National Wild Turkey Federation.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Resolution number 43, Senator Bray, expressing appreciation for the Indiana State Medical Association and the Academy of Family Physicians for the Doctor of the Day program.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Resolution number 44, Senator Bray, expressing gratitude to Verizon Communications.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Resolution number 45, Senator Bray, recognizing the Indiana State Senate employees.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Resolution number 46, Senator Bray, expressing appreciation for the Indiana Legislative Services Agency.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Resolution number 50, Senator Bray, expressing appreciation for the Indiana State Chiropractic Association for the Chiropractor of the Day program.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Resolution number 54, Senator Doria, congratulating the Northwood High School boys basketball team.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. Continue.
Senate Resolution number 55, Senator Doria, congratulating the Fairfield High School girls basketball team.
Questions on the adoption of the resolution? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Resolution is adopted. We have 9 messages from the House. Senator Messmer would like a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. You all should have gotten an email reminder. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is going to have an event tonight for all legislators. There'll be buses picking everybody up at the parking lot at 5, and they're got the 2-man speedway cars. They're going to be taking trips around the track if you want to participate in that. So be a lot of fun if you can make it. Be at the north doors at 5 o'clock.
Senator Doria is recognized for a point of personal privilege.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I would like to, we did 2 resolutions here today. The Fairfield girls basketball team had a record of 28-2, and they defeated my good friend, Senator Burns, Corridon Central High School, 49-42. Top scorer was Bray Garber with 19 points. Northwood boys basketball team won the state finals with a record of 28-2. The score was 66-63 over Gerwin Catholic. Lead scorer was Cade Brenner with 28 points. And then I got to give an honorable mention to the Bethany Bruins, who were in the girls' state finals, and they were defeated. So with that, thank you.
We will now move to motions to concur. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 7, Senator Busch.
Senator Busch calls motion to concur for Senate Bill 7. Clerk will read.
Madam President,
Senator Busch, present the motion to concur.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. Senate Bill 7, as it left the Senate, was a total prohibition on physician non-compete agreements and passed our great deliberative body 45-5. In the House, the bill was amended in committee to now include 3 parts. The first provision is a complete prohibition for non-compete agreements for primary care physicians, which includes family medicine, general pediatrics, and internal medicine. This definition of primary care is in line with how we define it in House Bill 1004. The second provision adds a mediation process for physicians and employers that builds upon a law passed in 2020 that allows for a reasonable buyout of a non-compete. We have found since then that the term reasonable is too vague, and these things get tied up in courts, further preventing the physicians from seeing who's your patients. This mediation option will speed up the process and provide a path to finding agreement for all physicians and employers. The third provision also applies to all physicians and states that non-competes are not enforceable if the employer terminates a contract without cause, the physician terminates a contract for cause, or if the non-compete extends past the expiration date of the original contract where both parties have fulfilled their obligations. I appreciate your support of the concurrence.
Discussion. Motion to concur is placed on its passage. The machine is open. Senator Bassler. Senator John Foran. Senator Bassler. Senator John Foran. Have all senators voted? The machine is closed. Clerk will tie the roll. Roll call shows 41 ayes, 7 nays. The motion to concur is passed. Secretary notify the House of the passage. Continue.
Senate Bill 326, Senator Mishler.
Senator Mishler calls Senate Bill 326. Clerk will read.
Madam President, move to concur with House.
Senator Mishler present the motion to concur on 326.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. This was the Gary School Board bill. And when it left here, there were 7 members. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Rephrase that. This is 326, not 327. This is the professional sports development area for South Bend. We increased the cap from 2 to 5 million. Everything I did for South Bend stayed the same. There were 2 changes in the House. One added a professional sports development area in Fishers with a $2 million cap for a hockey arena for, I believe, the Indy Fuel. The other piece was an existing PSDA in Evansville. They increased their $5 per resident up to $10 per resident. So I'd appreciate your support.
Discussion. Yes. Senator Niezgodski. Senator Niezgodski is recognized to speak on the motion to concur.
Thanks, Madam President, members of the Senate. Senator Mitchell, I just want to thank you for your cooperation and working together on this bill. This is going to take South Bend a much further step forward to creating a downtown that continues to be even more vibrant than it is today. So thank you very much. Please support the concurrence.
Further discussion. Senator Mishler, would you like to close? Waves closed. Motion to concur is placed on its passage. The machine is open. Have all senators voted? The machine is closed. Clerk will tie the roll. Roll call shows 46 ayes, 1 nay. The motion to concur is passed. Secretary notify the House of the passage. Continue.
Senate Bill 486, Senator Rogers.
Senator Rogers passes. We will now move to Senate bills eligible for concurrence. Clerk will read. Conference committee reports eligible for concurrence. Eligible for action. Clerk will read the roll.
Senate Bill 161, Senator Crider.
Senator Crider calls conference committee report for Senate Bill 161. Clerk will read.
On all first readings.
Senator Crider to present the conference committee report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. During final review of the bill after it came back from the House, our principal secretary, Jim Mertz, and Andy Hedges noticed there was some inconsistent language on page 10 where we listed felonies where it should have said offense. That was corrected along with one grammatical error in the conference committee report. I appreciate your support.
Discussion. Conference committee report is placed on its passage and machine is open. Senator Burrow. Have all senators voted? The machine is closed. Clerk will tally the roll. Roll call shows 45 ayes, 0 nays. The conference committee report is passed. Secretary notify the House of the passage. Continue.
Senate Bill 314, Senator Gaskill.
We are at the end. Calling it down? Yes, please. All right. Senator Gaskill calls conference committee report for Senate Bill 314. Clerk will read.
Address confidentiality.
Senator Gaskill to present the conference committee report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. We appreciate your support, and I'm open to any questions. Thank you.
Discussion. Conference committee report is placed on its passage and machine is open. Have all senators voted? Machine is closed. Clerk will tally the roll. Roll call shows 44 ayes, 0 nays. The conference committee report has passed. Secretary notify the House of the passage. We will now move to House conference committee reports eligible for action. Clerk will read the roll.
House Bill 1006, Senator Freeman.
Senator Freeman calls conference committee report for House Bill 1006. Clerk will read.
Mental health programs.
Senator Freeman to present the report.
Madam President, thank you. Members of the Senate, House Bill 1006 is the good work of Representative Steuerwald in trying to ensure that those that are mentally ill are not in our jails. This conference committee report, and I want to thank Dr. Johnson, Senator Johnson, worked extensively on this issue to ensure that doctors, PRNs, and others can do this type of work, but that it clarifies that only a physician or a physician who personally examined the individual would testify at a final hearing when you determine this issue. I would ask for your support.
Discussion. Yes, Senator Taylor. Senator Taylor to question Senator Freeman. Do you yield?
Yes, Madam
Senator
President.
Taylor.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. Senator Freeman, I've got a question. Where in the bill does it say the physician has to actually interview the person who's being evaluated?
It's an either or. The physician who signed the attestation in the detention hearing, or the physician who personally examined the individual testifies at the final hearing.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. If all the physician has done is attest to their evaluation, then they still have to be present at the hearing for final determination.
Right. The person cannot be found to need temporary or regular commitment unless, A, or 1, the physician who signed the attestation in the detention hearing, or 2, the doctor was personally examined the individual and he must testify at the hearing.
So under the first scenario where there's just an attestation in the detention hearing, you're going to make a person who never interviewed or physically met the individual, you're going to require them to be at the final hearing. They're the only ones.
Well, so this is we worked with many, but this is the working under a collaborative agreement. So if you're going to allow PRNs, PAs, people like this to do this kind of work, they have to be working under the care of a doctor. And so we thought it prudent that the doctor either be at the detention hearing, or B, they had to have examined the person and signed off on it for the detention hearing.
I have no problem when they examine, but why would you want to force somebody to have to be at a hearing when they may not even have met the person?
Well, Senator Taylor, I mean, just speaking for, as a lawyer, right, I wanted the ability to cross-examine somebody, so.
What are you going to cross-examine them on, Senator Freeman, if they've never interviewed the individual? What are you going to cross-examine them on?
Well, they're working under a collaborative agreement with others in their group, so you're going to have a report laying there on the table, and they're going to be subject to cross-examination, and as a lawyer, I could bring up things. So the report says 1, 2, and 3, and I question number 2, and is that valid, reasonable, and industry standards type thing? I mean, I think it's important to have cross-examination available.
But what are you? So you're saying that in a hearing, you could cross-examine a doctor on somebody else's report?
Yes. Well, I mean,
and based on what? Based on what rule of evidence?
Now we go back to, so if you want to require, right, so this goes to a different issue that you and I discussed recently. So if you want to require only doctors do this work, right, then that's fine. We can do that, right? And then if you want the doctor to be in court every time, that's fine too. But then the reverse of that is, so then when people are going to come and complain that, well, there's so many of the, the backlog is so significant, then that's what we're going to get.
Well, I would have gone the other way. If you're going to have the LPN or somebody who's professionally trained to do these evaluation, I don't have a problem with the attestation. You don't have a problem with making the physician show up for cross-examination for somebody they've never met before? You don't have a problem with that?
It's better than nothing, Senator Taylor.
Okay.
I mean, it's better than not having anybody to cross-examine. And if a doctor, and I mean, I'll defer to Dr. Johnson if he wants, but I mean, if a doctor's going to sign off on the work of one of their colleagues, then they're going to be able to be questioned about that. That's better to me as a lawyer. That's better than nothing. Is it as good as the doctor who actually examined them? No, but it's, again, better than nothing.
Well, I guess that's where we disagree. All right, thank you. Can I speak on the conference
Senator
committee
Taylor
report?
to speak on the conference committee report.
All right, so here's the deal, everybody. When we talk about these issues, competency and mental health evaluations are becoming more and more needed in the state of Indiana. And you got a person who really has some mental health problems, and now, because all of a sudden, this doctor who all they did was sign a piece of paper saying, I agree with what the LPN or the mental health professional said, and now they have to be present at a hearing on the final motion. They've never met the individual. You can't cross-examine a doctor on a document that they never created. Any lawyer who's a trial lawyer knows that. So why would you make the doctor have to be present at a hearing to testify if all they did was attest to what their other professional said? You know why you do it? Because all you're doing is creating another obstacle for people who have mental health problems from being evaluated. So they're going to continue to sit in our jails and cost the taxpayers money. The other part of the physician who actually heard the individual or interviewed him, smart move. You can cross-examine them on that. This has got to stop. I don't like when we come over here in this body and we keep making these rules that really practically make no sense. It makes no sense. You cannot cross-examine that physician and all they did was sign an affidavit. And if you can, the only person who can convince me that I'm wrong is Senator Koch, because I think he would be the one to understand it. But I don't think a physician who all they did was fill out you can't force them to be at the hearing. What are they going to say? Well, doctor, when you interviewed him, wait a minute, I didn't interview. This is just another obstacle for people who have mental health problems, and we have got to stop this. That change was not good. There's no compromise there. The only person who should be required to be at final hearing when it's a physician is the physician who interviewed the person. But you know what, let's just go ahead and say we did something. So I'm going to vote no on this one because of what the change was, because it doesn't make any sense at all.
Senator Young. Senator Young to question Senator Freeman. Do you yield? Yes. Senator Young.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. Senator Freeman, if we have a psychologist or a psychiatrist that's going to give an opinion in a case, it doesn't have to be on whether the person's competent, but do these people, they're not required actually to have to interview the subject, are they?
No, it's either or. They either interviewed them or a colleague of theirs in their practice group working under their agreement did.
And so a lot of these people, they can just review the file based on their own medical judgment or opinion from their experience and knowledge and training. They don't even have to interview them. They can just read the file on the person and give an opinion to the court. Is that correct?
Correct. Well, again, from a colleague of theirs in their practice group.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, forget about the competency issue. If it's another issue that comes up and you want to know if the person was likely to commit a murder or do some kind of crime, or are they competent if it's in a guardianship hearing, for example, the person who actually comes to testify, they don't have to actually interview the person. They can read the file, talk to people that they've talked to, and make an informed judgment, an opinion, as to whether the person's competent either to be a guardian or whether they were likely to commit some crime. Isn't that true?
That is one of the two paths here. And again, as long as they were in their practice group and a colleague of theirs signed the document, yes.
But that occurs today, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Permission to speak.
Senator Young to speak on the conference committee report.
I don't understand Senator Taylor's issue here, because in cases now that we have where we have to bring in a person who makes an opinion as to whether someone's competent or not, or whether they're likely to have committed a crime, or were they insane at the time, they don't actually have to interview the person. They can review the file or talk to people that has interviewed the person and make an opinion. That's all it is an opinion based on their knowledge and experience. So I think we're okay with this. I'd urge you to support it.
Further discussion. Senator Freeman, would you like to close? Waves closed. Conference committee report is placed on its passage. The machine is open. Have all senators voted? The machine is closed. Clerk will tie the roll. Roll call shows 39 ayes, 7 nays. The motion to the Conference Committee report has passed. Secretary notified the House of the passage. Continue.
House Bill 1173, Senator Koch.
Madam President, please call Conference Committee Report 1 to House Bill 1173.
Senator Koch calls Conference Committee report for House Bill 1173. Clerk will read.
Utility scale.
Senator Koch to present the report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. House Bill 1173 establishes safety standards for utility-scale battery energy storage systems. The Conference Committee report makes 4 changes. The first 3 deal with the application of the new standards to expansions of existing storage systems. And the 4th change removes the role of DHS in the training programs that the operator would be required to provide to all of its local fire departments. Be happy to answer any questions, and I would urge your support of the Conference Committee.
Discussion. Conference Committee report is placed on its passage. The machine is open. Have all senators voted? The machine is closed. Clerk will tally the roll. Roll call shows 46 ayes, 0 nays. The motion the Conference Committee report has passed. Secretary notify the House of the passage. Continue.
House Bill 1382, Senator Rogers.
Senator Rogers passes. We will now, now move to addendum number 1, beginning with motions to concur. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 327, Senator Mishler.
Senate Bill 327 is time ineligible. We have a report from the President Pro Tem. Clerk will read.
Pursuant to the enforcing of the Senate, President Pro Tem Bray has appointed the following senators, Senate conferees on engrossed Senate Bill 35. Remove Senator Rotz's advisor, conferee Senator Rotz, replaces Senator J. Ford.
We have a message from the President Pro Tem. Clerk will read.
Madam President, members of the Senate, I have on Monday, April 24th, 2023, signed Senate Enrolled Acts 1, 325, 46.
We have a message from the House. Is there further business to come before the Senate? Senator Holdman for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate. Senate Majority members will caucus in 30 minutes at 2:45, and we will caucus tomorrow on the 25th of April at 12 noon. We'll caucus at 2:45 today. Thank you.
Senator J.D. Ford for an announcement.
Madam President, members of the Senate Democratic Caucus will caucus upon adjournment, and then we will caucus tomorrow at noon. Thank you.
Further business to come before the Senate. The chair recognizes President Pro Tem Bray for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the Senate, at this point, I move that the Senate do adjourn until Tuesday, April 25th, 2023 at 1:30 p.m.
Questions on the adoption of the motion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Senate stands in adjournment until Tuesday, April 25th, 1:30 p.m.